This video is continuation part of property. This is a second video of property. I have already uploaded first part of the property video on my YouTube channel. So we will discuss the practical implementation regarding property. This is the part 2 of the property video. So this is the project property demo. In this property demo project, I have declared a class with the name customer. Customer is a class name. In this class, we declare two fields, three fields, int cust id, string name, and third one is string city. This is a customer class, and we declare three fields of a customer class. Okay, and now I made a constructor to initialize these fields cust id, name, and city of the customer class. To initialize, we just create a constructor int cust id comma string name comma city, string city. Cust id equal to cid, and this dot name equal to name, this dot city equal to city. Why here I have used this and here not use? You can use this here also, no problem. Okay, just here the name. This is the constructor parameter name. Just string type is name, and also the field variable customer field. We have a customer class. In this we have a field that is name, that is of a string type, and also declare a name. So this name and this name both are conflict is each other. That's why I have used this to resolve the confliction. Okay, this name is connected with customer class because here this means current object. Okay, that's why I will use this for this name because both are same name, and that's why I have used this. Here you can also use this, no problem. Okay, and without this here we can use because here field is cust id and the constructor parameter is cid, so we can directly use or we can use this, no problem. Okay, this means this is connected, this is associated with the customer class because this means current object, whatever the suppose we instantiating the customer class, then this refers to the current instance. Okay, I have declare the constructor, define a constructor to initialize this field. Okay, and this is the main method. In this main method, suppose I have created the instance of the customer class c equal to new, and customer just I have passed the constructor. Just in constructor I have just passed the arguments to initialize the customer fields. Okay, so name is just for an example John, city is LKO. Okay, we will see what is the why I'm writing this one. I will show you what is now. I have created the instance of the customer class and calling the constructor calling the constructor and passing the values to the constructor to initialize this customer fields. I have passed then this value is as linked to this, and this is assigned to the customer fields. Okay, now the cust id is 101. So suppose using C instance C dot here, if uh, I want to call the this one fields customer fields, then unable to access cust id, unable to access C dot cust id, unable to access C dot cust id, unable to access name, also not able to access. Why I'm not able to access? Because by default every members under the class is private, because there is no access modifier, access specifier is used. That's why this is the default access specifier is private for these fields. Okay, for these fields there is no access specifier used. That's why this is private. Because of private, we cannot access outside of the customer class. These fields, cust id, name, city, we can't access outside of the customer class. When we create the constructor, no, sorry, when we create the instance and calling the constructor use when we creating the instance and explicitly calling the constructor to initialize the field of the customer, then at that time the memory of this fields allocated. Okay, memory of this fields allocated because customer constructor is called when the instance creation is happen, then constructor is called, and memory is initialized for these fields. But due to the protection level, we can't access outside of the customer class. We can't access cust id, name, and city outside of the customer class because of its protection level. Because by default, when there is no access specifier used, then this is the private access. By default, private access. That is the reason using customer instance C, we are unable to call the fields. Suppose I have used public here, then I can access this one, C dot cust id. Here cust id is visible because its protection, its access modifier is public. Now we can use within the customer class, outside of the customer class. Okay, that is why when I use public, then it's visible here. Okay, now we are talking, someone asked that when the field variable is defined declare as public specifier, then we can get and set the value. Suppose here c dot cust id is equal to 102. Here from the constructor it's initialized 101, but here I have changed the value. Okay, and I have print console dot write line c dot cust uid, and before setting the value of cust id, printing before this. Here first time what's happened when the constructor, when the instance of customer class is created and the constructor is called, then the value is passed 101 here, and 101 is in assigned to the cust ID. The first time when we accessing the cust ID is 101, but here I have because of public access is specifier, just I have access using the instance of the customer class c.cust ID and assign the value 102, and after that I have access. Then second time we are getting here 102, and here we are getting 101. Okay, suppose run. There we are getting 101 and 102, 101 and 102. Okay, we are able to access because of this public access specifier, the cust ID. We are able to access outside of the class. We can access, or we can say we can get the data, and we also able to set the data in cust ID. Just we can get the data of cust ID, we can set the data of cust ID. I modified this cust ID with 102. So by the use of public access specifier of of cust cust ID, we can I have defined cust ID as public specifier of customer class. Then in another class we can set and get the value of the customer cust ID. Okay, there is no control on the cust ID. Anyone can create the instance of this customer class, and anyone can get and anyone can set the value of the cust ID. There is no control on the customer class. That's why the property came. Okay. First of all, the basic rule is that each and every class, when we declare a class, then you must declare a property, sorry, declare or define field, means variable, class variable, as private. If you don't use any access specifier, then that is by default private, or you can use private modifier explicitly. Okay, explicitly you can use private. Either you can explicitly use, or just you don't use any access modifier, access specifier, then that is by default public. Okay, because this one is declared as public, anyone can access, anyone can get, anyone can set the value. Okay, then the thumb rule is that in a class, if you want to declare a field, then you must need to declare as private. If don't declare as private, there is not any access specifier used, then by default is private. Okay, then I have removed the public, and I am unable to get and set the value of the cust ID because by default is private. Okay, then what to do to access outside of the class? Just we create the property with the name cust ID. This property name is cust ID, and this also same name, same identifier. That's why when you use underscore, the field name, the basic pattern is that the basic thumb rule is that follow the basic thumb rule. This is not mandatory, but you need to follow the field declare as underscore preceded with underscore on which field you want to apply the property. Okay, that's why I have declared underscore cust id, and this is cust id. I have make a property. Okay, what will do in property? We have two things: get and set. Get means read only property. Set means write property. Okay, this is get accessor. Here use return return underscore cust uid. This is the property name cust id and type int get. This means read only property. Get we are using get accessor to read the value, to get the value. Just use set accessor to set the value. In cust id we can set the value. Okay, now creating the instance. Using this we can create the instance of the customer class, and using the property, we just using the property c dot c dot cust uid. Just using this instance we are calling the property. Okay, and by default c dot get cust uid means get accessories card. We are not assigning a value, we are not assigning any value. That means get accessories card, and get accessories card, then by then it's return cust id. Whatever the value is going 101, that is returned. Okay, and here c dot cust uid I have assigned this one, and we can access. Then using the property, same thing we are achieving, same thing. This is the question by someone that why using by here we can declare public. Here we can declare use public access modifier, and we can do same thing. We can set the value, we can get the value. Only using here public access specifier, we can get the value and set the value outside of the customer class. And same thing we are achieving using the property. Just I have created the property, and we are getting and setting the value of cust id using the property. Then same thing we can achieve by using access modifier public. Then why we need to use this property? Why we need to use this property when previously we what without using this property, just I have achieved same thing. We are able to get the value of cust id, and we are able to set the value, and same thing achieving by the property also. Then what is the difference? I will tell you. Let's check. 101, 102, we are getting same thing without using the property, and using the after using the property, same thing we are achieving. Then what is the need of the property? Okay, this is the question by someone. So I will tell you. Suppose in some scenario any person want to only read the value, just comment it. Okay, this is the property. You know the in first video I have already told the property declaration, the property syntax, how to declare the property, everything I have already told in the previous video. So if you don't know the declaration part of the property accessing part, then you can refer first one video of this series. Okay, and this is the second video. And suppose in some scenario you want to give the permission to someone can access the cust id outside of the customer class. Okay, then is this scenario what we can do. This value is changed underscore, that's why I am saying here. Okay, suppose you want to give the permission to someone can access only read the value. Okay, then you can just this in property we have two things, get and set. This is the get accessor, we are using this block to get the value, and this is the set accessor, using this block we can set the value. Okay, then in get accessor, suppose if commented this one, you can use both get and set, and you can use set only, you can use get only. No need to use get and set. Okay, can use either get, either set, or both, no problem. Okay, according to your requirement you can use here. Suppose just I want to give the permission to someone can read, only read the value, only can get the value. Okay, then I have only used get accessor. Okay, then get accessor here are because of get accessor, just we are using insta customer class instances, and this is this property is come under the just like property is also a member of the class. Okay, so we are using the instance of the particular customer class, we are able to access the this property. Okay, and here only the get accessor are used, that's why we can able to access the value of one access the value of whatever by the constructor is assigned. Okay, we can access, but here we can't set the value here. Suppose using c dot cust id and setting the value, because here setting set accessor is not available, this is commented, that's why error showing. Okay, and in both case we are getting same thing 101, because we are not able to set the value. Okay, then we are getting this 101 here also, 101 here also. Okay, yeah, I think you got the point, because when you use public here, then anyone can set and anyone can get the value. There is no control on this cust ID. But using property, we restrict the setting of the value, means cust ID anyone cannot set. We restrict using property. So here we used only I have used only get accessor. That's why in outside environment only we can access. We can't set. Okay. Suppose you want to apply set, then you can use set here, and you can't get at this time. You can't get. Only you can set. But in the case of public access specifier, you can get and set both. If you use private, then you can't get and set. If you use public, then you can get and set both. But I want to give permission only get or only set or both. Using property we can do. Using property we can get and set both. Only get and set both can be done by the public access specifier we can get and set, but we can't do like this property. Only we restrict set, we restrict get using property. Okay, if we use set accessor, then you can set the value of the cust id here. Here this is valid, okay, but access is not valid because get is commented. Okay, and one more thing, suppose some condition you want to apply and get and set. In get and set, here using public access specifier you can get and set, but you can't apply the condition on getting and setting. But here we can apply the condition on getting and setting. Suppose we are getting the value of cust id here, and we are setting the value of cust id here. Here we when we setting the value of cust id, then this 101 value is coming here. Okay, internally this method takes a parameter of value, and that is type of integer. This is built-in variable, built-in parameter. Okay, and that is coming whatever the value is assigned in cust id, that is coming here, and this is the type of the property. Suppose this property is type int, this value is type of int here. Suppose this one is string, then this value is also dynamically converted to the string. Okay, suppose in setting we want to apply the condition, then in set block just come into the set block and apply the condition. You can apply the condition, you can apply the condition. Suppose you want to apply the condition that if the cust id, if value means whatever we are passing the value is greater than cust id, then it will take, otherwise it will not take, it will not assign. On setting we just put the condition. On setting we in property we put the restriction, we put the condition. But here in the case of suppose we have used public access specifier, then we can get and set, but here we can't apply the condition. Okay, but in the case of property we can apply the condition. Suppose on setting we want to apply the condition like that. Suppose we are setting the value 101 in cust id, then whatever the value is passing by the user just come under come uh, map in value, map to the value. Then 101 is 102 is value is 102. 102 is greater than cust id. Previously first when in the constructor we have passed 101, then at this time cust id is 101, and the second time we are passing 102, then 102 is greater than cust id, then that means it's initialized, and the values here value is 101 and here value is 102. Okay, 101 and 102. And suppose I have made the condition like this, then what happened? That means when we setting the value, we here c dot cust uid equal to 101 means setting, we are setting the value cust id. In cust id we have assigning the value 102, then 102 is come here, value is 102. 102 is less than cust id. Cust id means 101. Here 101, firstly the constructor called and 101 is assigned to the cust id. Then cust id is 101 and value is 102. 102 is less than 101. Condition is false. Then the value 102 is not assigned to cust id. Okay, the value should be 101. That's why here also 101 printed. here 101 also printed, this value can't be assigned because on set we have a condition. If the value assigned value is less than cust id, then that will be executed, this line will be executed. But here in this case we are passing 101 102, we are assigning 102 in cust id, then 102 is here and 101 is here in the cust id. Previously we have assigned 101, then cust id have 101, and we are assigning, we are setting in cust id 102, then 102 here value is 102 and this is 101, then 102 is less than 101, no, condition is false, that's why this line will not be executed. And here 101 also printed, here 101 also printed, this will not work. Okay, this assignment will not work because of the set condition, and 2 times 101 printed. Got it? This is the actual meaning of the property. In the case of property, when we are using the property, then we can apply the condition on set and get. Here we also apply the condition. Suppose here we also apply the condition. Suppose like that cust id. Suppose cust id is greater than something, then return this one. Okay, like if cust id is greater than 0, okay, then return 1 colon 2. Like that we put the condition here also. If required like this, some condition we can put, no problem. Okay, just I have used only uh, this type of condition. Suppose we are getting the value, okay, and cust id, we are getting the cust id here, then in get accessor just check the condition, get id, this one is greater than 0, that means printed 1 1 and 101 is printed. Here at the time of access, this get accessor executed. That get accessor executed means cust id have 101. 101 is greater than 0. That means condition is true. Then 1 is printed. 1 is returned means 1 is printed, because here we have printed console.write line. Here 1 is returned is 1 and 1 is printed. Here we have assigned 102, but here in the case of set we are setting the value. This condition will be false because 102 is not less than 101, then this line will not execute and the value will be 101. Then it first time it print 1 and second time it will print 101. 1 and 101 it will be printed. Means using property we can apply the condition and get 1 and 1. Why 1 and 1 printed? 1 second. Okay. Here first time we are here first time we are assigning 101. Okay. Then here we have get condition, that get accessories card, and get accessories card means this value is cust id 101. 101 gets greater than 0, that means 1 is printed, 1 is returned, 1 is returned. Okay, 1 is returned. Okay, and here 1 is printed. Okay, okay, and the second time when we are again we are okay, we are just using here also get one, that's why. Okay, this set one is not executed, this get one is executed. Okay, both are get, 2 times get is called like c dot cust id, c dot cust id, two times get is called and two times here get is called. Then again one here also is printed, one in this case one also printed. That's why one printing. Okay, and this line we are setting this one, then this line will be not executed. And when we just calling this one, then again one both time one printed. Okay, okay, fine. That is the reason, because just here also we are calling the get accessor. Here we also calling get accessor. That's why we are printing two times one. Okay. Here we are using set accessor. In set accessor, this is not valid, because this value is not less than this. Okay, that's why this line is not printed and thus is not assigned. That's why we are just in every case we are calling cust id is greater than 0, then we get 1. Okay, so what does it means? Using property we can write the condition on get accessor, write the condition on set accessor. Okay, and we give the permission only read, only write, or both read and write. But in the case of just when we declare a public specifier here, then only we can get and set. We can get and set. Both we can do, get and set. But we can't restrict. We can't do like this, only get, only set. We can't do like this. Okay, and we can't apply the condition on setting the value, on getting the value. We don't apply the we can't apply the condition in the case of just public specifier, if you used public specifier on the field. Okay, this is the main role of the property. And there is one more scenario in the property. Suppose using property, public property, we can get, we can set, we can either get, we can either set, no problem. Whatever we want, we can do. But another scenario is this. Suppose this is another scenario. Suppose we want to get the property. Suppose we want to get the value in case of, in every class, means when outside of the customer class we can get the customer id, but we can't set the customer id in case of outside of the customer class. Outside of the customer class means outside of the customer class we can get the value, means outside of the customer class we can get the value. Okay, but only child class of the child class of the customer we can set the value. This type of scenario if want, that means only child class of the customer class can set the value. Okay, child class of the customer class can set the value. Okay, and no one can set the value. Only child class of the customer class can set the value, and no one can set the value. Okay, everyone can get the value, everyone can get the value, but only child class can set the value. If this type of scenario is required, then what we will do? Suppose we have another class. This is the class, and we have another class child colon customer. Okay, And suppose here we are creating the instance of child class. Child C1 new child C1 dot cust ID we can access. Cust ID we can access because here cust ID we can access because cust ID is the property. Okay, and using this property we can get and set. Currently we are get and set because this is public. Both are public. We can get and set using C1 cust ID is equal to 1. But we can get and set both using child instance. Okay, because this is the public and both accessor are public by default. Suppose I have used protected here. Protected means this accessor get accessor have no access specifier. That's why by default this public is work on this get access specifier. Okay, get accessor and get accessor there is no individual, there is no personal access specifier. Because of no personal access specifier, this access specifier, the global access specifier is work on this. When there is no access specifier on get accessor and set accessor, then global access specifier is public working on both. That's why we are able to get and set. Okay. And when I used protected on set, protected access specifier on set, and we don't use any access specifier on get accessor, then global access specifier is public, it will be applicable on get, and here already I have specified as a protected specifier. That means this is a set is protected and get is public. Now in the child, now using the child of the customer, we can set this is the customer class and this is the child customer, this one is child. Means here when we apply the property is public but the accessor is protected, means this property can be used anywhere but we can get the value anywhere. Means this property can be used in any class, means outside of this customer class, and get the value. Okay, because get is public. And this property cannot be used outside of the class using set. This properties set accessor only will work in the case of child class. The child class of the customer, this one child, in this child class, when we create the instance of child class, then we can use the set accessor of this class. Okay. Now c1 dot cust id, here we can use Here we can use set, but here also we can use get because get is a public. Okay, c2 dot cust uid. We can get and set both here. Okay, we can get and set both here. Okay, in the case of child, because this child is a customer class, child class. In the child class of the customer, we can set the value, but we can't. We can get and set because get due to the public we can get anywhere. That's why we can get here also. And in case where this is the protected will only work in the child class. Here protected is working, but here protected is not working. Creating the child class. Just I have used two main method because just creating the instant and showing that this is valid or not valid. Okay. Here we can set, but here we can't get. Okay. And we have one more thing, auto implemented property in this also. Means suppose we have a class, just remove this all things. Customer, and customer have attributes. We can ID here use another properties like string and name. Here string. String here we can use. This is the auto implemented property. Okay. Auto implemented property means in this case there is no any field. Okay. There is no any variable of the customer class. Okay. So in this case we can get and set using this property name. Okay. Suppose we have class test and we have a main method static. Getting the instance c c dot id. We can get, we can assign the value c dot c dot name. We can assign the name. Okay. Yeah, suppose this is the auto implemented property. Suppose we have a customer and customer have two attributes. Okay, then I have just defined a property. Okay, using this property we can get and set. Means internally it will create a variable, a field of type integer, and that is holding the value using this property. Suppose this property we are accessing c dot id. okay, and assigning the value 1. Then internally a variable of type int is declared, and this value 1 is assigned to internal variable, and we can access that variable using this id. This id we can get and this id we can set, but where we are getting, from where we are getting and setting, this is internal, this is auto implemented. Okay, in previous case, we just declare the field variable and using the property we can get and set. Okay, but this is the auto implemented property. This ID, we can use this ID to get and set, and the internal where we are setting, where from where we are getting, just internally a variable is managed. Okay, like this, like we are where c dot name. This is the property, and this properties in name we are assigning test. This is the property name. By using this property name we can set the value, and using this name property name we can get the value. But where this test is going, where this test is storing internally, there is some variable like underscore name or internally managed, and internally the field for this in the name property, the field of type string is managed internally. In this field test is stored, and for this id, suppose internally underscore id is a variable declared, and this property is used to get and set the value in that underscore id variable. This is the auto implemented property, and we can use this like this. Okay, and internally the variable, one variable is internally managed in this case of auto implemented property. Okay, and in this case we need to use both get and set accessor, because we don't declare a variable here explicitly. Internally it's managed, that's why we both required get and set. Okay, like this we can't use. Okay, here because there is error, property or indexer customer ID cannot be assigned to its read-only property. And here also we can pass the value. This is integer type, so we can pass here also. Okay, by using c.id we can access like this. We can access. This is a c.id we can access. Okay, and we can assign like this 101. And here also we can set the variable, set the data for the name property. Suppose I am passing John, like this we can assign here also. Okay, we are just set the value of name property John. When we are getting, when we creating the instance of the customer class C, this is the instance of the customer class, and C dot name, this is the set. Here set is called. When we access c dot name getting the value, then John is come. When we are getting the value, then 101 is coming, because here externally assign the value. Okay, here set the value, we can using get accessor we can get the value using id property. If we see that id we access, then we get this value. If using c dot name we can get this value John. Okay, this is the auto implemented property, and we can assign like this also. Okay, I think you got the point, and the video is very long. So that's why we finish the session here. Okay. If there any question, any confusion, then you can ask me. Okay. Thank you. That's all.